Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course stream for fun. Today we're finally doing our final review of Star Wars Outlaws. Now, I've played roughly about 10 hours into this game, and I've taken time to look at the epilogue or the prologue, which took forever to get through. We also took time to actually kind of explore and look at some of the open world, engage with some of the events, and all of this is available for you to watch. We also took some time to explore space and actually go onto an actual space station and see what that's like. And so we got to see a lot of different aspects of the game. So we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, of course, thanks, guys. You can always like, sub, all that jazz. Don't forget the bell notification as well. And two, do that to help me out. It helps me actually get out there and try to fill people in, because I hate the industry, kind of just how kind of scummy it is. It's trying to just, sell you something or manipulate you to buy something instead of actually providing value. And that's why we call this show Gaming Garbage, because gaming is kind of garbage right now. We also have Twitter, X, Discord, and Twitch. Twitch, if you want to watch it there first. Basically, it's not really edited much. But if you'd like to get it there first, of course, you can subscribe to Twitch. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. Overall, I'm really not happy with most of the game. Again, I've played roughly that 10 hours, and overall I see what the game is trying to be, but it falls short in almost every single category. The open world is more like an open area. Kind of like the first Descendant. While there's something there, but it never really changes. There's no real true exploration. Like maybe in Starfield or Skyrim or something like that, or even like Far Cry 5. These are bigger worlds. They're more engaging. There kind of feels like there's different areas to kind of explore. But when I'm in the open world of Star Wars, it feels like it's restrictive to one particular area. There's no real change, or even Elden Ring, for Pete's sakes, like what you're watching. There's no real change to stuff in the environment, so it all kind of feels smaller and closed off. The consequences, they're not really meaningful. The stealth is limited, restrictive, and annoying. The combat is pretty easy. It's hard to be emotionally invested with the characters. Because the game shows me who they are instead of developing who they are. Big difference there. The game mechanics, they do things for you. It's an Ubisoft game. Also, your HUD can point out everything that you want, again, which is kind of annoying. Overall, it's a shallow gaming experience. It's just rough. The good about the game, landing on space stations in space. That's actually pretty cool. Space is a little bit more in-depth than I thought it would be, which is amazing. And the space exploration is kind of fun. And there's some rewards to doing it. You get rewarded for it a little bit. The aesthetic of Star Wars between Episode 5 and 6, it's wonderful. They got it right. It's perfect. I mean, there's ships, there's speeders, the robots, the guns, the turbo laser towers. I honestly took time just to take a look at those for a couple of minutes, because it was really cool actually pulling up Star Wars Episode 4 and then looking at the turbo laser in the game. And it was really cool to see that. Again, they did a wonderful job. Their time with Lucas Studios paid off big time. So yeah, the aesthetic is there. The aliens, the kind of the environment of some of these worlds that we know. There's some new ones too, so of course we don't have anything to go off, but you can tell this is Star Wars between Episode 5 and 6. They did a great job. The amount of options we have is also a really good thing. You can cater the play style and how much it's going to help you or not help you. And you can tweak all of that. I haven't seen this many options in a game in quite a while. And there's a lot of them. So again, instead of holding your hand, if you want a little bit tougher experience, you can do that, and you can tweak everything pretty much to exactly how you'd like it.
We're going that way, huh?
Okay. Let's get to... Oh, yeah, one more good thing is that some of the events are actually fun. They create some kind of dynamic elements a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, to the actually the exploration on planets and stuff. And this can be kind of fun, and if you do it well, you can actually get rewarded for it pretty well with materials that you need to upgrade stuff. And if you do it poorly, you can actually die pretty quick. So ask me how I know. Let's get to the bad. There's glitches. There's textures that don't look good. There's texture pop-in. There's crashing with using a scope, whether you're using your binoculars or the scope on a on an Imperial rifle. Most of the voice acting is pretty bad, kind of emotionless. There's kind of weird pauses in there, which is kind of weird, and the writing is bad too. The bantering feels forced. The jokes really aren't funny, and just the conversations are kind of slow and annoying. I'm fighting the camera when I'm getting on my speeder almost every single time. Sometimes the camera is flying way up in the air. Sometimes I'm looking down at the ground, and it's like, just flippin' look forward, for Pete's sakes. I almost feel like I'm trying to adjust it myself because the game is delayed in adjusting it automatically because it wants you to like move forward first. And so then you're constantly fighting the automation when it finally kicks in, and that's annoying. It's an issue too with the aim assist when I'm doing dogfighting in my ship. The aim assist is constantly on, and I didn't see an option to actually lessen it or even turn it off. And it was like, come on, I want to literally, you know, I just want a dogfight. Like, I actually want to do it myself. And unfortunately, I'm constantly fighting it in every single dogfight. Like, fighting the aim assist was more difficult than actually the dogfight itself. Every single time in space. It was a mess. I can't take weapons with me that I find on the ground. I can pick them up and use them, but again, there's no way to reload them, there's no way to charge them, there's no way to get extra ammo for them except for getting a whole new gun, and then I can't actually take it with me when I want to get on my bike, when I want to use a ladder or something else. And so, that sucks. You're really just, you know, stuck to your blaster. You can't use other vehicles, okay? Again, you can only use your bike. You can't use, you know, armored vehicles. You can't use other speeders. You can't use other bikes. You can't commandeer or steal anything. It's just frustrating. There's limited tools for stealth. You can't use grenades. You can't use weapons. You can basically use only neeks and then waiting for opportunities to, you know, wait to get behind to somebody to knock them out. And the reason is because, well, we'll get to that in the ugly section. The upgrades for the blaster, they're not very enticing. And the abilities are very slow. They're frustrating. The cities, too, feel really small and guided, at least with the couple that I was able to get into. And again, overall, it doesn't feel like there's really any real consequences with the game, with what you're doing. You're just kind of playing a story, or almost kind of like reading a book, instead of actually feeling that there's some type of some kind of challenge there, and it kind of comes across as like a boring experience. So yeah, that's all of the bad stuff. The ugly stuff, well, remember how, you know, you can't take weapons with you, how we talked about the stealth, that you can only use neeks. That's part of the issue, is because in some areas when you get caught or they discover you, the game makes you fail the mission and you got to start all over. It literally transposes across the screen, caught, and you got to start over. And this is probably one of the most annoying mechanics, because you have the availability of firearms sometimes scattered around the world or from other enemies that you've taken out, and you also have your own blaster. And so to not have the ability to shoot it out like a scoundrel in Star Wars is kind of ridiculous. Again, we kind of have that anticipation or that belief of being able to play like Han Solo, and in these types of scenarios, we can't actually do that. And, you know, maybe we're going to fail, and that's okay, but at least let us try. And they don't even let us do that. The stealth missions, too, are generally pretty easy in most cases. You just have to wait and sit there and kind of learn the patterns and stuff and then go. And some of the missions, too, that I got to play, like the Imperial Space Station, every time I was turning the corner, the enemy was having their back to me. So, like, stealth was actually pretty easy for the most part, because it was just enemy after enemy after enemy that I was easily able to take out, because they were always looking away. They were never looking in my direction. And I didn't feel like I really had to be that careful. Two, if you can get close enough, you can actually take someone out before they're completely alerting the base. And the cameras, too. Well, the cameras, you didn't have to take time to really look for a camera because you could see the silhouette on the ground. So, again, it was like very easy to tell which paths to take. And because of this, the game also was very, very guided. They were forcing you to play a certain way, forcing you to go a certain direction. And so it didn't feel like open world, right? It felt more like a God of War game where it's very guided and it's restricting you to certain stuff. And so with people having the expectation, it's like, man, that just doesn't work. The Ugly 2 is the shallow and repeating open world exploration. It's actually really repetitive. The buildings, the structures, the materials that you're getting, health packs all day long. Oh my word. And again, generally speaking, all of the weapons you want. You just got to use it, drop it, and switch to something else. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy how awful that was. There's the prologue too in the training. It's way too long. It's an hour and a half for most of us to actually get through. And then there was a huge game-breaking bug with early access. You had to completely restart the whole game, get rid of your save, and just start over. And there's no refunds for that. What Ubisoft did is gave you some in-game currency to say, oops, sorry. And like that really screwed PlayStation players. And in my opinion, like that's not forgivable, right? Okay, it's like you're having a AAA experience. You're having people pay extra money to play it a few days early, and all of that is just wasted. That is not okay. Ugly 2 is you got to do tasks to actually unlock skills instead of just leveling up. There's no leveling up in the game. And then 2, there's a lot of mechanics that are missing that we have in other Ubisoft games, like swapping out weapons. Even just, earning other attachments, taking the time to steal other stuff, to take other bikes or take other vehicles. We can't do that. The older games like Black Flag, for example, have better open world mechanics than Star Wars Outlaws does. I feel like it's actually trying to do this, but again, it's like, what happened? It's like they just didn't quite do it. And then to the restrictiveness. A lot of open world Ubisoft games allow you to try multiple paths to try something, but not Star Wars Outlaws. Basically, you got to go or do a certain way in order to progress and move on and complete your mission. So yeah, for me personally, this was a rating of a 5 out of 10. This is just kind of made for the casual player, somebody that kind of likes Star Wars. And while I think it can be fun, there's definitely some parts that I enjoyed. Overall, the experience was annoying. And like, this is not worth $70. Again, this is like a $30 game. For me personally, maybe 40. But yeah, basically 50% off is what you should wait for. Or play it on Ubisoft Plus. Get your time out of it and then cancel it at the end of the month. That's $18. That's what I did. And it sucks. And again, guys, thanks for voting for this for January. It's just a bummer that this game wasn't as good as we were hoping. Again, coming in January, we're going to be voting again for what game you guys would like to see. This is where I actually buy a launch title. You just use my own money and show it to you on the channel. And that'll be for 2025. And we'll have the voting in January, so stay tuned for that. So again, thanks for listening, folks. If you enjoyed the comment, like, sub, all that jazz, don't forget the bell notification, and do share the content as well. It just helps me get out there, helps me get out there to more people. And my real focus of Gaming Garbage is just to show how garbage the industry is, and to let you guys know of some traps and potholes to maybe avoid if you wish. And if not, hey, it's your money. Go for it. And so with that, folks, hopefully you guys are doing well. I will see you guys on the next one.